Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin Butler. I work for KMW Technology as a search and AI engineer, and today I'd like to talk to you about rolling your own AI applications in the enterprise, but most importantly, the 5 lessons that we've learned along the way working with real customers, real data, and real problems. So here's the 5 lessons. Number 1, begin with evaluation. Number 2, accurate answers come from good content ingestion. Number 3, hybrid search by far is currently the best approach to AI applications. Number 4, don't let prompt engineering hide bad data or bad design. And then finally, AI security is critical for enterprise success. So number 1, begin with evaluation. One of the biggest barriers for companies building an AI product and adopting AI within their enterprise is that they don't trust it. They don't trust the responses. And so systematic evaluation helps you build confidence and credibility by being able to prove out the system and make sure that it is reliable with guardrails and that the customer can rely on it. So how do we begin doing that? We start with testing and evaluation. So we want to build and document our test cases. We want to perform many A/B tests, changing different variables at different times. And then, of course, keep the humans in the feedback loop, use their signals and their feedback to enhance the system and find the outliers and issues within the application itself. Evaluation. With respect to AI, there are many evaluation frameworks out there. There's commercial providers, open source products, such as Ragus, which is kind of the quasi-standard at this moment. Most of these other evaluation framework companies are using Ragus as the basis for their evaluations. There's a few other companies here that are pretty popular right now, DeepEval, MLflow, and Confident AI. While you're doing testing and evaluation, this is using Ragus metrics, for example, and this might be a sample scoring output that you might get from your RAG application when you put the queries and get the answers back. And the idea, of course, is some metrics score higher, better, lowers, better, it depends on the metric. But when your RAG application is up and running for the first time, it's now time to build your evaluation framework. Number 2, accurate answers come from good content ingestion. This is not a new concept for anyone, especially if you're watching this video. Data in, data out, garbage in, garbage out. Most enterprise data is not yet ready for AI applications right out of the box. We need to do some work to essentially normalize and enrich that data for effective use by the AI application. So how do we do that? Data analysis, number 1. Use your tools that are available to you, such as, number 1, use a statistically significant random sample of your data. Make sure that it represents the entire data set, not just the top X number of records or the last number of records. Make sure that it's representative of your whole data set. Look for things like duplicates, bad values. Use your profiling tools to see frequencies and the quality of the data. And then, of course, test early and test often, because outliers come either by something that you haven't seen before, or things change over time, applications change, and there may be a new outlier that you haven't discovered yet. Ingestion. So we at KMW use a product called Lucille, which is a search engine or a search ETL tool. And this is kind of what it would look like to build a RAG application using Lucille. First, we retrieve the file or the data. We slice it into chunks with an overlap. Each chunk gets its own text embedding. And then we start to attach the metadata, the chunk embedding, the chunk text, all together into a single document that goes into the database. That's for the bulk ingestion process. However, as soon as you're done with bulk ingestion, then you immediately need to start to worry about updates and deletes, incremental changes, and new data sources that may come. So what does it look like in practice? This is an example of taking a single sentence as a chunk of text. It could be a paragraph, could be a chapter, could be a a variety of chunking and overlap strategy according to your design. Hybrid search. When vector databases came online a few years ago now, they revolutionized retrieval with semantic understanding. We really were able to start to gather the intent of the user's question and match that question to the answers or the context that's within the semantic database. Actually put in a full sentence, a full query of exactly what we're looking for, and it could semantically understand that and match that accordingly. So again, lexical is our traditional keyword search. It uses an inverted index. Many examples of NoSQL databases have the same approach. Most of them are Lucene based, such as your Solr, OpenSearch, Elastic. The list goes on and on. Semantic search, vector databases. Again, it goes with the query intent and the semantic meaning of the question. So combining both of these together gives you the best, again, of both worlds and will give you a nice result set that can combine either of those ideas. Number 4, don't let prompt engineering hide other problems. Clever prompting can mask deeper issues in data quality, model choice, or even your system design. And trying to patch it and fix it or trying to force the model to behave in a certain way can be very difficult, and you can start to have things like data leakage, or you could have just poor answers to begin with. So how do we mitigate this? Prompt engineering is not a substitute for these 3 things: bad data, poor retrieval, or poor search. And it is still not quite good enough yet for data manipulation or aggregation. Models are improving, things are getting better, but I wouldn't rely on it yet. What they're good for is, of course, guiding the LLM, asking for specific output formats such as JSON or reporting, and then, of course, things like controlling the tone and professionalism. When you first get started building an AI application, my recommendation is build the minimal prompt necessary, focus on the quality of the data, focus on the retrieval, and then work on your prompt engineering. So here's an example of a poor prompt. And this prompt itself is, you can tell that it's a little bit squishy in its nature. It doesn't really give clear guidance or clear expectations. And we want to kind of avoid this kind of prompt. So why is it a poor prompt? Again, unclear expectations, vague in its nature. In this case, it was based on a book, and that book's tone wasn't respected or wasn't aligned with the prompt. And it doesn't give the prompt or the assistant any creativity or capability of extending the answer. And then finally, it doesn't quite align with the core ideas of the book itself. So the idea here, if it's a RAG application that you're speaking to a book, then certainly the book's content, the ideas, the notions, the core concepts should all be part of the context and part of the language model's responses so that it aligns closely with the nature of the context or the book. Okay, so this is a much better prompt. I won't make you read it. You can pause the video if you want to read through it, but it's giving very specific alignment to the book. It's asking it for very explicit answers, asking it to reference chapters and things like that. And so the idea is that the book is very well aligned and should behave as if you're speaking to the author. Number 5, AI security. AI needs strong boundaries, guidelines, guardrails, and the fallout of that, if you don't have that, is possible leaks, model misuse, and loss of trust with your enterprise customer and their customers. The whole idea of building this AI application is to be very reliable and useful. So how do we look at this? With our security, research your database to see what kind of security that you have available already out of the box. There could be different authentication methods, access, roles, could be document level, could be row level, could be field level, could be a variety of ways to authenticate and access the data. Make sure that it's implemented early. Build it with the end in mind. And one of the biggest quick tips that I could give you is to build an impersonation feature right away during development so that you can exercise the security policies and test security as you go. Try not to build your entire application and then try to apply security to it. It becomes very difficult. Test, and keep testing. Of course, there's going to be outliers in the beginning. You're going to find these edge cases and unique cases that need to be addressed. Continually address those and then don't stop. Keep testing. Data changes over time, applications change over time, and so there could be new outliers that come later. The other benefit to having an impersonation feature is that if you're, in our case, we noticed that if we're filtering down to a specific user's access and authentication and roles, we're able to actually search a very small subset of the data rather than scanning the entire data set, which definitely improves search. So what might it look like? This would be a document or a record level ACL or access control list. And in our case, we just added a metadata field with a series of SIDs, and those SIDs were defining groups, roles, and access to this particular document. And at query time, we take that user, we interrogate their security credentials, and then we provide that as a filter at search time, and it only returns documents that user has access to. So let's review quickly. The 5 lessons that we've learned along the way, of course, begin with your evaluation. Use your large language models, evaluation tools. Accurate answers come from good content ingestion, so data pipeline, and then, of course, retrieval. Hybrid search right now is our best approach for retrieval. Don't let prompt engineering mask or cover up bad data or bad design. And then finally, apply AI security early on. That way you can test it along the way and find all of those outliers as you go. So that's it for me today. I want to thank you for joining us, and if you'd like to visit us, we are at kmwllc.com, and my name was Kevin Butler, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Take care.